What is good, Mexit planners? In honor of Black History Month, I thought I would share with you our migration story here to Merida and the decision points that we use around moving to Merida over all the other places in Mexico. I also conducted a poll recently of the Black expat community here in Merida, and I asked them two simple things. How long have they been here, and why did they choose Merida over all the other places in Mexico? 2.5 years ago, when we decided to move to Merida, Mexico, there was already a group of Black expats living here. In the first week that we were here, we met about 30 new people between a Facebook group meetup and a birthday party that we were invited to. And many of those folks have gone on to become our closest friends here in Merida. The Facebook group had mostly older Black expats, many of whom had been here for over 10 years. The birthday party was more of a family dynamic, and there were more kids and families and a younger crowd of folks that recently had moved to Merida. Over the last 2 years, the Black expat community has gone from being one where when you're out and about, you see someone every few days to one that no matter where I go now, on any given day, I'm gonna run into either a familiar face or someone that just got here, in the last 6 months. It amazes me how it's grown to the point where now we see each other everywhere. This phenomena of all of this explosive growth really got me to thinking, and this week I conducted a poll of the Black expat community to see exactly why did people move here? Why is this place, resonating with you and your decision to live abroad outside of the United States? And I'll tell you the results at the end of this video, but I think you'll find it interesting that we all moved here for the same reasons other folks moved here, but there are some things that we as a Black expat community, I think find even more valuable than some of the other folks. About 18 months ago, a Facebook group called Brothas and Sistas of Merida was started, and that community has grown exponentially to about 2,000 members at this time. And not all of those folks live in Merida, but have plans to move to Merida at some point. I conducted a poll recently that I mentioned, and I asked folks, why does Merida resonate with you? What are some of the things that drew you to Merida as opposed to other places to live abroad? I also asked folks how long they had been here. You can see by the results that we'll get into a little bit further in the video, but you can see by the results that people are coming left and right. Every single week, it seems that someone new is arriving here in Merida. Almost every day, but certainly every single week, someone new shows up here in Merida, which is exciting. Just over 100 people responded to this poll, and some of the key reasons they listed as wanting to move to Merida, the first was proximity to the beach, the second was safety, the third was quality of life, the fourth was the family-oriented atmosphere, and the fifth was the Black community itself, the Black expat community itself here in Merida. Many of the same factors played a part into our decision into moving here to Merida, except for really one, and I'll get into that a little later. But for me, the proximity to both the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico is phenomenal. And it's a major city. So having a major city that's located only 25 minutes from the Gulf of Mexico and 3.5 hours to the Caribbean, those are definitely big advantages of Merida in terms of location. Also, it's only a few hours away from the east coast of the United States, so that also is an advantage, meaning that we can get back to Atlanta and catch up with our family and friends relatively easy. Being a larger city, it also has an international airport, which means we can fly directly from here to places like Miami or Houston or to Mexico City. And also it's only 3.5 hours from Cancun. So if you want to get pretty much anywhere in the world, you can get there from Cancun since it is a major tourist destination. Safety for me was probably one of the biggest factors in choosing Merida over, say, Guadalajara or other major cities within Mexico. Safety for me means being in an environment free of guns and free of daily violent crimes. Now, that's not to say that crime doesn't happen in Merida, but violent crimes, we're talking about shootings, armed robberies with, intent to kill, that kind of thing. Those are far and few between here in Merida. In fact, whenever something like that does happen, it makes major news here in Yucatan. It also means being free of the burden to ease the fears of those around you just because of how you look. For us, the quality of life, we didn't realize that the quality of life would be so much better than what we had in the States. There are just conveniences here that don't exist in the United States yet. For instance, the Rappi service. We lived a very blessed life in the United States, but we're able to take it even up a notch. I call it the lifestyle level up here in Merida, where we're able to have a staff come in and maintain our home, maintain our gardens. We have someone that helps watch our daughter 6 days a week. So we have a live-in nanny. All of those things would have been possible in Georgia, in Atlanta, but at a much higher cost. We still live a pretty high lifestyle compared to some others, but that lifestyle doesn't cost nearly as much as it would have if we were still in the United States. The family-oriented environment was probably the biggest thing that really drew us to Merida. And what I mean by family-oriented environment, the culture in general lends itself to being multi-generational, where you would have grandmother in the house with, the youngest child, right? Or even the babies. And that's just simply the culture here. What I find intriguing about the culture is that anytime that they have a break, it's generally spent with the family, whether that's going to the park with everybody from the grandmother down to the baby, all the way to, just hanging out at the mall, where you have the teenagers doing their thing in the mall. You have grandparents hanging out with the parents, hanging out with the younger kids. So an example that I like to use to illustrate this point is even when you go to a restaurant, and many of the nice restaurants on the north side of town, you will find that they have really, really amazing play areas. Now, we're not talking about, like the play set that you have at McDonald's. We're talking about full-on activities, from iPads to, just entire rooms. And those rooms are generally staffed with a restaurant nanny that will look after your kids. So even while you are having dinner with, say, the older adults, the kids are able to go off and play, and when the food is ready, they're able to return to those tables. Since the pandemic, that has now returned, so that is something that we are able to enjoy again. Since we went back to green, we're now in the yellow traffic light, but that feature's returned to Merida in most of the restaurants throughout the north side of the city. So that is something that we definitely enjoy, and it also helps with the family all being able to go out and enjoy dinner, the kids, the parents, the grandparents, etc. And then they all get together and have dinner. The kids go back off and play while the family socializes over the table. So family-friendly environment. This place is hands down one of the most family-friendly places I've ever been to. And there are all sorts of activities that are both free or very low cost for the families here in Merida. Finally, the Black expat community here in Merida, especially for me, has been a huge surprise. I didn't move here because of the Black expat community. It was a bonus, so to speak. I moved to Mexico to be immersed in the local culture, to immerse myself amongst, all of this newness and unfamiliarity. But it is comforting to know that there are others that have made a similar choice and that come from a similar immigration path. It's great to be in a supportive environment of other people who understand the struggles of, say, Black hair care, or of certain things, certain types of food that you want to eat at certain types of holidays based on our traditions. It's also reassuring to know that my daughter will see other people that look like her here in this city, and not just that other people that look like her, that she will see folks with similar hair textures. She'll be able to talk and have conversations with folks that may understand her in some of the things that she will have to go through at a deeper level, right? And so it's reassuring to know that that is here in Merida. These small and familiar things make it easier for us to exist in an environment that is completely foreign to us, as we meld into the larger culture and society that has adopted us. I personally want to know all that there is to know about the Yucatan, its people, and its culture, and become part of the larger society. For me, I embrace all the opportunities of newness in the place that I now call home. but I find relaxation and comfort in the familiar. That is what the growing Black expat community means to me here in Merida. At this point in the video, you may be wondering, well, exactly how big is this Black expat community in Merida? Well, this is completely an unscientific study, but I did a poll of the growing Black expat community here on Facebook, and I asked them two things. One was, how long have you been here? And two was, what made you choose Merida over other places? And so here are the results. There were just over 100 people that responded in the first 24 hours. Of the people that responded, 48% said that they had been here less than 1 year. 16% of the folks said that they had been here less than 6 months. 26% of the people said that they had been here just over a year, and 12% of the folks said that they had been here for 2 years or more. So as you see, there's not a big number of folks that have been here for more than a year or even 2 years, even less that have been here for 2 years. And that mirrors exactly what I've seen out in the street. The really impressive thing about the Black community here in Merida is that there are households from ages, in their 20s all the way to the 70s. I've met folks that are my kids, my older kids' ages, in their mid-20s. And I've met folks that are my mom's age, in their 70s. So it's a really diverse range. There are lots of families here. Every single week I'm meeting someone new, and that definitely mirrors the results I've seen in this poll. Now, this is also completely speculative, but if I had to guess, I would say that Merida has the largest Black expat community in Mexico. If I had to guess, I would say that there are definitely more than 150 different individual households in the Black community here in Merida. It is so cool to be a part of helping to grow this community and to be a part of the community. If you want to know more about what this community looked like, say 2 years ago, check out this video over here. Until next time, this is MexitPlans Monty. Happy Black History Month. I'm out.